Hi, my name is Luigi Casanelli. I'm a technology manager at HDR. Thank you for joining us to learn how to use big data to retime your signals. Signal retiming is one of the most cost-effective ways to keep traffic moving, reduce emissions, and improve safety. Today, we'll consider the typical way to retime signals compared to a new, better, big data way to retime signals. As we all know, if signal timings are not kept up to date, customer satisfaction goes down and customer complaints go up while the environment suffers from increased emissions. As a steward of these signal assets, it's frustrating to expend limited resources retiming a small fraction of your signals, knowing that the retiming needs may not fit the budget and can continue to solicit customer complaints. What if you automatically received a daily, weekly, monthly, and seasonal report that told you when you need to retime your signals? For the past 7 years, we've been managing all the traffic signals for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, including addressing customer complaints. We are also retiming over 500 intersections for the New York City Department of Transportation, which is a huge undertaking. We provided expertise from collecting and processing data manually to using the latest technologies to maximize resources, reduce costs, and keep our clients happy. Applying our experience and lessons learned, we'd like to show you how you can create an extremely cost-effective signal timing plan based on data that incorporates 3 parts. First, a user-friendly report that gives you action items to retime your signals as often as you would like. Second, develop optimal signal timings with the goal of cost savings that can be used to reduce the overall budget or that you can reinvest in retiming more signals. And third, continuously updated signal plans, which reduces the need to even consider costly adaptive traffic signals. But before you can create a signal timing plan, you need to understand how signal timings are typically established. You start by understanding the traffic profile of your roadway. Once you understand the traffic profile, you can break up the peak periods and develop signal timing plans to match those peaks to keep your customers moving, reduce complaints, and lower emissions. Let me summarize the typical process. Step 1. Collect data for 1 week out of 365 days. Step 2. Process and analyze the data for your roadway. Step 3. Develop your AM, midday, PM, and overnight signal timing plans based on 1 week's worth of data for the next 5 years. Yes, you heard that correctly. The typical process is to collect 1 week's worth of data to develop average signal timing plans that are also used for holiday and seasonal traffic, and hope that those plans are still relevant even if the traffic patterns have or will change. We know what happens when the traffic patterns change. You start receiving complaints. Why am I waiting at the signal? There is no traffic on the side street. Guess who gets the next call? You. When using the typical signal timing process, the day you implement your signal timing plan is probably the best plan, and from that day on, the benefits dramatically diminish and your customer complaints go up over time. There is a better way. Our new big data signal retiming process lets you continuously monitor your signal timing plans 365 days a year, minimize your retiming efforts over time, and keep your customer complaints down. Let me walk you through our big data process. Step 1. With the advent of big data, before any data is collected, you can map out the roadway profiles and determine the peaks for 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Step 2. Overlay all of your signal timing plans against the roadway peaks and determine what you need to do. You can sort your signals into 3 buckets. Bucket 1. Signal plans that match the roadway peaks. If they match, you're doing a great job, and you don't have to include them in your upcoming signal retiming project. Bucket 2. Signal plans that closely match your peaks, but are off slightly. For example, your signal timing plan ends at 6 p.m. but the roadway peak ends at 5 p.m. For those signals, retiming is not needed. You can simply make the peak period adjustment. Bucket 3. Signal plans that do not match the roadway peaks. Focus your efforts on those intersections, collect data, analyze, and so on. If you want to take your signal timing to the next level, which used to be cost prohibitive, you can use big data to look at the 365-day profile of your roadway and determine if you need additional peak period plans by season and repeat steps 1 through 3. By taking this extra step, your agency will be able to maximize customer satisfaction and reduce emissions using seasonally based signal timing plans. In fact, doing this will effectively create a pseudo-adaptive system without the extra cost. Let's consider a recent project example. There was a $100,000 budget and 120 intersection signal system. Using the traditional approach for that budget, you would be able to optimize about 15 to 20 signals and develop AM, midday, PM, and off-peak timing plans. Using our big data processing tool, the results showed that out of 120 intersections, 60 were great, 30 needed a minor peak period extension, 50 needed to modify one peak, and the remaining 15 needed a full optimization. Using the big data signal timing process, with a limited budget, we were able to ensure that all 120 signals were running optimally. As you can see, this big data process is more cost effective than the typical retiming process. Plus, it makes it easier for you to keep your signals up to date while reducing customer complaints and lowering emissions. If you're interested in hearing more about our big data signal retiming process, please reach out to the HDR colleague who shared this video with you, or email us at hdrtransportation@hdrinc.com. And before you go, here's a tip. Consider reaching out to the big data companies, as they may be willing to share data with you for free, allowing you to start your own big data retiming program. Thank you for taking the time to learn about our retiming process. We look forward to working with you in the future.